is the context. B'shus D'Mardasra, we're continuing our share in Dirshu B'Halacha. We're starting tonight on Reish Amud Aleph, on the bottom line. So we're in Siman Shin Men Vav. We're in the middle of Sif Gimel, and I'm going to start on the bottom line from the beginning of the words of the Ramah. We're going to repeat a little bit that we did on Thursday, but I think we have to in order to maintain the context of what's coming. So, the Mechaber in Sif Gimel told us the din of a Karpef. So you have a Karpef. A Karpef is an area that's as large as a base Sosayim or larger. So that's 5,000 square amas or larger. And it is Mukaf Mechitzais. It's surrounded by walls. However, it's not Hukaf Ladira. It's enclosed, but not for living purposes. So the example that the Mishnah Berurah gave was, for example, somebody wants to use it to plant an orchard or to plant crops. So although it is Mukaf Bechitzis, it's not Mukaf Ladira. Midoraisa, this area is a Rishos HaYachid because it's surrounded by Mechitzis. However, the Chachamim went ahead and they gave it the din of a Carmelis. And they said, just as you're not allowed to carry Daled Amos or more in a Carmelis, you're also not allowed to carry Daled Amos or more in this Karpef. Because they were afraid, a Karpef is a very, very large area, and they were afraid that it could be mixed up theoretically with a Rishus HaRabim. So they said you can't carry Daled Amos in a Karpef. Okay, that gave the Karpef sort of a din of a Carmelis. Now, they did say, however, that you're allowed to carry from this Karpef to a Carmelis, or from a Carmelis to a Karpef. So, although it's a Rishus HaYachid D'Oraisa, and really from a Rishus HaYachid to a Carmelis or vice versa, you're not allowed to carry. Over here, since they gave this Rishus HaYachid, this Karpef, which is the Rishus HaYachid, they gave it really a din of a Carmelis, so they said that from the Karpef to a Rishus HaYachid, from this Karpef to a Carmelis, or from a Carmelis to this Karpef, you are allowed to carry. Now, when the Mechaber said this, the words that the Mechaber used on the second to last line are umuter lahaitzi mimenu lekarmelis acher. You're allowed to carry from the Karpef to another Carmelis. For instance, the Bika, going Bika Iveris Lefana. So the din that the Mechaber told us is that you're allowed to take from the Karpef to a Carmelis. Now comes along the Ramah, and the Ramah says Haggah. V'lachein, since this is true, that you're allowed to transfer something from the Karpef to the Carmelis, so says the Ramah, muter likach mafteach mikarmelis shelifnei gina, you're allowed to take a key that's to the gate of a walled-in garden. So let's say somebody made a large garden. It's very large. It's 5,000 square amas or longer or bigger. So you have a garden which is a Karpef, and it's surrounded by Mechitzais, and it has a locked gate. The key to the locked gate is located in the Carmelis right outside the Gina. So it's in the Bika, right outside the Gina. So you're allowed to take that key from the Carmelis, Shelifnei Agina, Liftayach Vilinoil, to go ahead and unlock or lock the door, or Lahachzer Amafteach Elov, and to bring the key back to him. So what are you doing over here? You have a key that's in a Carmelis. You take the key from the Carmelis, you stick it into the door of the Gina. Now you unlock the door and you push the door inside. So what are you doing? You're transferring from a Carmelis to a Karpef. So the Mechaber had told me that you're allowed to transfer from the Karpef to the Carmelis. The Ramah gives me this case, and in this case he shows me that you're also allowed to transfer from the Carmelis to the Karpef. And over here you're doing it with a key. Now, let's just see the Mishnah Berurah here, nice cut in Yud Ches. The Mishnah Berurah said, V'lachein muter likach, da'af al pi sha'agina hu rishus hayachid min ha'torah, even though this walled-in gina, this walled-in garden, midaraisa, is a rishus hayachid, shemukefes mechitzais, because it is surrounded by walls on all four sides. Kevan d'rabbanan asa'u kekarmelis, since the Chachamim made it akin to a Carmelis, they said you're not allowed to carry Daled Amos inside it, so in that regard, they made it like a Carmelis. However, so they did not aser carrying from it to the bika. V'atam kanal liftayach, and you're allowed to open the door. Hainu. This means af lahachnis hadela shalagina ima mafteach lifnim. You're allowed to stick the key into the door of the gina, and now you're allowed to swing the door in. So you're moving the key from the Karmelis into the Karpef, which is a Rishus HaYachid Daraisa, but you're allowed to do that anyway, because this Rishus HaYachid Daraisa, this Karpef, has a din of a Karmelis. So Midrabanan, you're moving something from a Karmelis to another Karmelis, and therefore it's mutter. Now, the last word in the Ramah on Reish Amud Aleph is U Bilvad, and continues the Ramah on Reish Amud Beis, U Bilvad, Shalo Yehei Beineim Iskupa Shehi Rishus HaYachid. The only caveat over here is that there should not be a stoop between the Karmelis and the Karpef. Kigain Shehi Gavaya Asara Urechava Arba. If you would have a stoop that would be 10 tefachim high, and the stoop, the surface of the stoop, would be daled al daled, and I believe that the Dirshu in footnote 13 has a nice little picture. So if you look at that picture in footnote 13, you'll see what we're talking about. For the purposes of where we're up to now, you could disregard in the picture in footnote 13 the threshold, the mechitza is on the pillars on the side, and the mashkaif on top. That's not germane to really over here where we are in the Ramah. The Ramah is just saying over here, you have that landing at the top of that staircase in the picture. If that's 10 tefachim high and it's daled al daled, so then that surface is a Rishus HaYachid. If that surface is a Rishus HaYachid, then what the Ramah just told me you're allowed to do, you are not allowed to do. Now let's see why. Let's see the Mishnah Berurah. What the Ramah means to say is, the Pesach Hagina, at the entranceway into the Gina, there should not be a staircase landing or a stoop. Shekairin Shvel, Gavaya, high enough, Sheyesh Aleh Hashem Rishus HaYachid, so that its surface has a din of Rishus HaYachid. If it's 10 tefachim tall and it's daled al daled, it is its own Rishus HaYachid. If that would be a Rishus HaYachid, then da'az aser lahachnis hamaftech lahaitzi. Then you cannot bring the key into it or take it out of it. Because by bringing the key from the Karmelis onto the Iskufa, what are you doing? You're taking the key from the Karmelis, you're bringing it onto a regular Rishus HaYachid. This has nothing to do with the din of a Karpef. You're taking it from a regular good old Karmelis onto a total Rishus HaYachid. You're not allowed to do that. Now when you take the key off of the stoop and you bring it back down into the bika, you're transferring it from a Rishus HaYachid to a Karmelis. And that you would not be allowed to do. And in the description, the Ramah said, if this stoop is 10 tefachim high, the Elavachi, if the stoop is not 10 tefachim high, is skupa gufa Karmelisi. If the stoop is not 10 tefachim high, but it's daled al daled, so what is the stoop? The stoop itself is a Karmelis. Ukamoi bikadamya. And it's exactly the same as the bika that's outside the gina. So then you would have no problem bringing the key from the bika onto the eskupa. That's from a Karmelis to a Karmelis. And so too, even if the stoop is 10 tefachim high, but if it's not daled al daled, then makom p'turu. Then the stoop is a makom p'tur. So what problem do you have? The stoop is a makom p'tur. Oh, there is no makom p'tur in a Karmelis. There's no makom p'tur in a Karmelis. I was waiting for somebody to ask me that, and I thought of it. 1 second. Give me 1 second here. What did we say? Oh, yes, all right. It doesn't matter. Either it's a Karmelis, according to the Shita that you do have a makom p'tur, that you don't have a makom p'tur in a Karmelis, so it's a Karmelis. According to the Shita that you don't have that you do have a makom p'tur, so it's a makom p'tur. A makom p'tur, so it's a Karmelis. Matzah minas minai v'neyar v'neschaze. So at worst, it's a Carmelist. At best, it's a Makom Tur. But what bothered me, it still did bother me why he doesn't note it in the Sharat Tzion. The Dirshu doesn't say anything here, do they? Well, there's no footnote here. Just 1 second. The Ilav is we'll see. Right, but I'm saying the way I'm looking at it is he's going according to both shitas. It was according to the shita that you do have a makom b'tur and a karmelis, so it's a makom b'tur. According to the shita that you don't have a makom b'tur, so it's a karmelis. Like you just said, gufa karmelisi. It itself is a karmelis. It bothers me a little bit that he doesn't say anything in the Sharat Tzion that he doesn't. Why? What difference is there going to be? No, but that's not what he's addressing. That's not what he's addressing, right?
He's addressing the exemption in the diagram here with the stoop. The stoop, if it's Arba Ba'arba, is a problem. But if it wasn't Arba Ba'arba, it would be Makom B'tur, we'd have no problem going.
So one second. Shehi Gufa Asara.
This is on the border.
Was it Chafal? Shehi Gavaya Asara or Chava Arba. It's a problem because if it's 10 tall, so now you made a Rishas HaYachid. Right? The Ilafachi. If it's not 10 tall, so a skupa gufa karmelisi, right? So what are your choices over here? Either the skupa is a karmelis, right? And if the skupa is a karmelis, you have no problem because you're going from a karmelis to a karpef, which is no problem, right? Right? So what we're worried about is what about the shita that there's no makom tur in a karmelis? So fine. So there's no makom tur. So it's a karmelis. Which doesn't have a different halacha, it's all the same.
What does it need to say? The Ilav Hachi is Kupa, Gupa, Karmel. If the area where he's staying is a Karmel, it remains a Karmel.
No, his point.
I'm saying this is something else. This is not in the Karmelis. This is on the border. Might be considered this part or this part. It's on the border. It's something separate. It's at the end of the Karmel.
Well, I think his point.
It's a separate.
It's between the Karmelis and the Gina. So what he's saying is the Ramah said that it has to be 10 high.
It's a separate thing.
Well, if it's 10 high, it's its own rishos. It's a rishos hayachid. And if it's not 10 high, he's just pointing out if it's not 10 high, that's not a problem.
Then why do you have to say it's a Karmelit by itself? You should say it's part of the Karmelit.
I don't think he said, but he just says he goof a karmelisi. It itself is a karmelis.
Right.
So you have no problem. It's kamay bikadamya.
He's talking about another issue. It's something separate. You have to be done on this separately.
Well, could be.
I'm
Okay.
just asking him.
Yeah.
I don't understand. You're not allowed to take. He's saying you're allowed to take from the Karmelis into the Gina, right? With the key.
Right.
Right. So that's a kula, right?
Why is that that's?
Because we're dealing over here.
You're going from a karmelis to a karpef.
Yes.
So that's the mechaber's.
Right.
Right.
But
Right. They made it a karmelis.
Only lechumra, so that you can get it.
And for this kula also, this is the mechaber's kula. They said that lechumra you're not allowed to carry in it.
So now you want
but,
to call it. So what do you want to call it? You want to call it? It's a karmelis.
It's a karmelis. We're calling it a karmelis. So but if you throw from Rosh Hashanah, you're over the Raisa.
Yeah. So that's very. How do you call it?
Yes, I pointed this out. I pointed this out Thursday night. I said Thursday night. You see that the Mishnah Berurah said on Thursday's share. We said the Mishnah Berurah is telling me that why did they do this? They did this because they were afraid if we're not going to let you carry from the karmelis to the karpef, what are you going to say? You're going to say, oh, the karpef is a real, thorough rishos hayachid. It's not a karmelis at all. So then what's going to happen? You're going to carry dalan amas to the karpef. And if you carry dalan amas to the karpef, someone's going to see you carrying dalan amas to the karpef, and he's going to come to carry dalan amas to rishos harabim. So that they were afraid of. But they were not afraid that if we let you carry from the karmelis into the karpef, you're going to say, oh, so the karpef is not a rishos hayachid at all. It's a karmelis, and now I could go from the rishos harabim into the karpef. That they weren't afraid of.
But I'm saying something else. sucker, or whatever it is. So, if it's a B'Rishus Deraisa, it's B'Rishus Yachid, then you have to go to Chumrah.
Well, you're going to have to go to Chumrah here too.
But now if you're thinking, oh, maybe it's since you're allowed to,
Right, you might think it's a Derabanan.
Yes.
Right, so apparently it seems, right, it seems to me that somehow the Chazal decided that to make the mistake that it is not a Rishus HaYachid when it's surrounded by mechitzas, that mistake you're not going to make. They decided that mistake you're not going to make. I always said the Rabbanon. Okay.
But if somebody carries there with the mechitzas, that somebody's going to get it.
Right. Okay. So we are in. Okay. So now let's go weiter in the Ramah. Let's go back up to the Ramah. So the Ramah said, this scheme of moving the key from the Carmelis through to the Gina does not work if there's an iskupa that's a Rishus HaYachid in between. And the scenario that he gave so far is that the stoop is 10 tefachim high and it's dalet al dalet, so that the stoop is a Rishus HaYachid. Now the Ramah gives another scenario. Or how else could the stoop be a Rishus HaYachid? Sheyesh lo shtei mechitzos min hatzadin. If the stoop has two pillars, what do you call those? No, Jason's not here. No, what do you call the sides of the door? Posts, doorposts. No, doorposts. That's what I'm thinking. If you have two doorposts on the sides of this stoop, shehem rechavim arba'a, and they are 4 tefachim in the depth. So the depth of the doorposts are 4 tefachim. Umashkoif aleha, and you have, I guess, like a threshold, a lintel, right? The top, the bottom is the threshold, and the top is the lintel. I think so. You have the piece on top is also 4 tefachim deep. Da'az heavy Rishus HaYachid. Now the area of the stoop that is within the doorposts and under that lintel is the Rishus HaYachid. Afal pi she'ena gavaya asara. Even if the stoop is not 10 tefachim tall. Why is that true? Because when you're standing in between those doorposts and under the lintel on top, you're standing in a dalet al dalet area that has 2 mechitzos, and because it has a lintel on top that's 4 tefachim deep, we also say pi tikra yored v'saisim. We say that the edge of the opening, right? Here's your opening. Here's your doorpost, and here's your lintel. We say that the edge of the opening here, the thickness of the opening, Allah Sinai, continues downwards and closes it off. So now you have 3 mechitzas. So now when you stand in between those doorposts and under that mashkaif, you are standing in a dalet al dalet area that has 3 mechitzos. So boom, you have a Rishus HaYachid. So now even if the stoop is not 10 tefachim raised off the ground, you're still standing in a Rishus HaYachid. Does have a Rishus HaYachid. So now inside those doorposts is a Rishus HaYachid. Even though the stoop itself is not 10 tefachim high. So this is just another scenario of how the stoop could become a problematic Rishus HaYachid, and then you cannot move the key from the bika, from the area that's lefnei agina, onto the stoop, or vice versa. Yeah.
Why is it only 3 mechitzas?
It could be it's 4. You could say pitikra on both sides and say that it's 4 mechitzas. I hesitated to say it for we'll see later, but it could be it's 4 mechitzas. Yeah. 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 Right. There's a whole question whether or not you say only pitikra on one side. Right, so maybe you say pitikra on one side, not the side that he came in from, pitikra on the other side. It switches over. Yeah. So now, Eis Kat L'Chav Beis. Shtei mechitzos, see, and the Mishnah Berurah is very meduyik. V'hashalishes, and the third mechitza, Nasa Yidei HaMashkaif, is made by virtue of the mashkaif on top. The Amrin on pitikra yared v'saisim, because we say pitikra, and by saying pitikra we get a third mechitza. Ois Kalachav Gimel. This works if the doorposts have a depth of 4 Tvachim. Shem Rechavim Arba. The Bapachas Bizef, the less than 4. Afilu Arba Mechitzos Gemurais. Even if you had 4 solid Mechitzos, Lo Yever Rishos HaYachid. If the area that's enclosed by the Mechitzos is not Daled al Daled, it's not a Rishos HaYachid. V'chanal b'simin Shin Mem Hei Sif Yotes. We saw in Shin Mem Hei that one of the requirements for Rishos HaYachid is you have to have Daled al Daled inside. And the Ramah said, this works even she'ena gavaya asara, even if the stoop is not 10 tefachim high. Ritzayna loymar ha'iskupa, even if the stoop is not 10 tefachim high, it's still a rishus hayachid. V'hu adin ki she'ena gavaya shleisha, it doesn't even have to be 3 tefachim off the ground. Ay she'en ba'iskupa klal, or it's mamish flush with the ground. So it's not a raised stoop at all. You just have the 2 doorposts and the mashkaif. Because in such a case, what's making it a Rishos HaYachid? The doorposts and the mashkaif. It has nothing to do with how raised it is off the ground. Then, okay. Now, the Ramah switches tracks completely, which you would not know unless you're paying attention. Now the Ramah says, a new din. Mihu, you should know. If we're talking about an iskupa, if we're talking about an entranceway into a house, forget the gina. We're not talking about a gina now at all. Now we're talking about you're going into a regular house, and the house has a deep doorway. So you have deep doorposts, and you have a deep mashkaif. Now, we just said that when you have doorposts that are 4 tefachim deep, and a mashkaif that's 4 tefachim deep, then the din in between those doorposts is that you're in a Rishos HaYachid. So now let me ask you a question. If you have a house like that, and you go into that entranceway, and you have hanging on a hook on the doorpost a key, should there be anything wrong with taking that key, putting it in the door, unlocking the door, and swinging the door in? Technically, it should be fine, because you're in a Rishos HaYachid. So you're going from a Rishos HaYachid to a Rishos HaYachid. What's the problem? Says the Ramah, not so fast. Mihu, however, you should know, even though the interior of a doorway that has a depth of 4 tefachim is a Rishos HaYachid, still, asur lahachnis me iskupa l'Rishos HaYachid ay ipcha. You are not allowed to bring something in from the iskupa into the Rishos HaYachid, or from the house out into the iskupa. Why? T'chayshinon shema lo yihya tikra arba. Because we are worried that you're not measuring all of your entranceways, and it's very cute. You're going to come to the conclusion that entranceways are always a Rishos HaYachid, but not all entranceways are deep 4 tefachim. So now we're chayshish all the time that you cannot carry from an entranceway or into a house or vice versa, because it's possible that you don't have Daled Tvachim. And if you don't have Daled Tvachim, then you don't say Pi Tikra Yared V'Saisim. And if you don't say Pi Tikra Yared V'Saisim, then you don't have Gimel Mechitzos. And if you don't have Gimel Mechitzos, you don't have Rishos HaYachid. So then what's the din of the entranceway? Then the entranceway is bottle to the street that's in front of the entranceway. So if it fronts onto a Carmelis, it's a Carmelis. If it fronts onto a Rishos HaRabim, it's a Rishos HaRabim. Either way, you cannot go from there to a Rishos HaYachid. I don't know.
I'm going to be afraid everywhere. You know,
exactly the right I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's apparently I think it comes from Mordechai.
I was thinking.
Yeah.
Because usually it's a small thing. Usually, so it's a tight place.
Maybe. I know ours are always small, but in those days were they small? I don't know.
Yeah, you're getting into your house. You have a
Maybe.
thing over there.
So the what? If it's very small, but then again, if you're fronting onto a Carmelis and it's a Makom Tur, then we're going to say it's a Carmelis. And if it's a Carmelis, you can't carry. What? Oh, so if it's a Rishos HaRabim, let's get there. He's going to talk about it. Chavav, the Chayshin on Shemaloi, V'hu Adin, the also Lahitzimi is Kupal Rishos HaRabim. You also cannot go from this entranceway out onto the Rishos HaRabim. Afilu Amein Arachav Arba Tvachim, even if you don't have a depth of Arba Tvachim. The Shema Yizdamein, Sheyi Hamashkoif Arba Tvachim. Because we're going to be chayshish the other way too. We're going to be chayshish both ways. We're going to be chayshish that maybe it is Arba Tvachim. V'az halayhu rishus hayachid gemura. If it is dalid, so then it's rishus hayachid. If it's not, so we'll chaysh both ways. We're not going to let you bring it into the rishus hayachid because maybe it's a karmelis or maybe it's a rishus harabim. We're not going to let you take it from the entranceway to the rishus harabim because maybe it's a karmelis or maybe it's a rishus hayachid. Okay. Now, the Ramah says weiter.
It's not true in Shus Hayachid.
No, but we're going to get to this. This is what it's bottled to. So the Ramah said, "Mi also lachtis beiskupa l'shus hayachid yibcha the chayshiran shemelo yatikra arba va'oz that if it's not for imeinu iskupa gavaya shloisha if the floor of this iskupa is not raised 3 tvachim off the floor yesh lahadin shelafaneha so then it's going to be bottled to whatever it fronts onto." And whatever type of rishus it's in, right? If it's not 3 tvachim off the ground, so it's bottled to whatever rishus it's in. Va'afilu im gavaya shloisha, even if it is 3 tvachim high, so now it's not bottled to the rishus that it's in necessarily. Still, the Ramah says, Me'achar shekol rishuyos shalanu heim karmelis, since most of our rishuyos are karmelisin, right? We generally don't have rishus harabim daraises. So matzah minas mina even there. So then comes the din that there's no makom p'tur in the karmelis. It's matzah minas mina and v'neir. So there's no makom p'tur. So what is it? It's a karmelis. Kamay shen is bar siman shin mem hey. So now let's take a look at the Mishnah Berurah. The Mishnah Berurah was into this in depth. Says the Mishnah Berurah in Chav Zayin, hadin shelafaneha, if the iskupa is not 3 tvachim high, so then the interior of the iskupa, if it's less than 4 tvachim deep, and we're always going to be chayshish that it's less than 4 tvachim deep, so it gets the din of the rishus shalafaneha, im rishus harabim, if the outside is the rishus harabim, zehamokim batal legabe, v'nasa gam kein rishus harabim, it becomes a rishus harabim, v'im karmelis, and if it's karmelis, it becomes a karmelis. Yeah, okay. That was, Chav Zayin was if it's not 3 tvachim off the floor. If it's not 3 tvachim off the floor, so then it's pashut that it's bottled to the rishus harabim. Even if it is 3 tvachim tall. So again, now we're talking about the iskupa, the entranceway, is more than 3 tvachim raised, and we're chayshish that it might not be 4 tvachim. Ritzayna Laimar, what's the point that it's 3 tvachim high? V'im kain heavy oisei makom p'tur. So you might think that the entranceway is a regular old makom p'tur, so what's the problem? The mistama kevin she'ein hamashkaif shala yiskupa rachav arba tvachim, since the mashkaif is not 4 tvachim deep, heavy gam kain hamazuzay shibenat started v'gam yiskupa gufa gam kain ein rachav arba tvachim. With the assumption over here is that we're talking about an area that's not dalad al dalad. So if it's more than 3 tvachim off the ground and it's not dalad al dalad, it should be a makom p'tur. Umemele have a makom p'tur. Umi makom p'tur, and if you're coming from a makom p'tur, haloi kaimel on the mutal atatal rishus hayachid v'lo rishus harabim. So you should be able to go from the entranceway to the rishus hayachid or to the rishus harabim. Mikol makaim, however, kevan shekol rishuyos shalanu heim karmelis l'das kama paiskim, since according to many paiskim, this is always going to be fronting onto a karmelis. And this iskupa opens up onto the karmelis. We say that this area, which in essence should be a makom p'tur, we say ain't makom p'tur, but karmelis, and it opens up onto a karmelis, and it is a din of a karmelis. Ve'ein chilik b'chol zeh, says the Mishnah Berurah, it makes no difference over here. Bein Pesach Habayis Pasuach Eino'u. You shouldn't think that the door is a factor over here. It makes no difference if the door is open or closed. La'olam asur lahachnis me'iskupa lifnim. You're never going to be allowed to bring something from the iskupa inside. V'hinei, l'fiyam avur ba'agazu. According to this Ramah, yesh li zahir. We have to be very careful. Ba'isan ha'mekaymo she'asar ha'tilpol machma she'en sham eruv. In areas where you're not allowed to carry outside because there is no eruv. Upesach pesach neses hu l'tzad ha'rechayiv. And the opening to the shul is right by the street. Ve'en sham cheder l'fnei Pesach. and there is no foyer, there is no entrance hall going into, in front of the front door of the shul. V'ha'akom mevi ha'mafteach, and a non-Jew goes ahead, the caretaker, brings the key to the shul. Shelo yikach hashamish ha'mafteach miyodai, the shamish of the shul should not receive the key from the non-Jew ad sheyihya ima akom yachad tachas mashkov she'ala pesach, until he is standing within the doorway of the shul. Why? Maybe the interior of the doorway does have daled al daled, in which case it's a rishos hayachid. And by taking the key from the non-Jew who's standing outside of the doorway in the Carmelis, while the Jew is standing in the doorway, he's taking something from a Carmelis into a rishos hayachid. To the interior of the doorway. Al-Kain, therefore, yikach ha'mafteach miyado akum, he should take the key from the non-Jew, tachas ha'mashkaif, while he's underneath the mashkaif, in the interior of the doorway. So now they're both in what might be a rishos hayachid, but whatever it is, they're both in the same rishos. V'achakach yiftach hamanol, then he should unlock the lock, v'lo yiftach hadeles, but he should not open the door and swing the door into the shul ad sheyoser ha'mafteach, until he takes the key out. V'achakach yiftach, and then he should open the door. Teshema ein betikra shechutz hadeles arba'at tvachim, because maybe the other way, maybe the interior of the doorway is not daled al daled. Nimsa sheshamu karmelis, then the doorway is a karmelis. V'hu machlis b'karmelis l'rishos hayachid, and by swinging the door into the shul with the key, he's bringing the key from a karmelis into a rishos hayachid. Al-Kain, therefore, Yasir Tchila HaMafteach, he should take out the key first, V'yitneu la'akum, and give it back to the guy. Ayat mineu, or he should hide it, Patachtis or Iskupa, under the doormat, on the floor of the stoop, Ay Lamayla, or on top, Lifnei Shkifas Hadeles, closer to the outside from where the door closes on, from the threshold that the door bangs against. That's the borderline between the interior and the exterior. V'roi lakol, and it's worthy for the congregation, sheyasu l'fnei pesach, that when you design a shul outside the front door, you should make a cheder, a little room, shehu rishos hayachid, which will have a din of rishos hayachid, v'yaviyo akum ha'maftech l'sham, and the non-Jews should bring the key into that room. Di'ilavachi, because if you don't have a room, kashal etzamtzem sheyamdu shnei b'makom katzer kazeh, it's nigh impossible to make sure that the two of you are mamish standing together underneath the mashkav, so that you shouldn't run into this problem. Now, I have to tell you that learning all of this, I have to see in the Paiskim, it strikes me there's got to be a shear to this. There's got to be, in other words, let's say you have some big old building that has a doorway, an entranceway that's 3 feet deep. You're going to tell me that over there also I got to be choshish that maybe because it's a din of a doorway, I got to be choshish that maybe it's not daled tvachim? Can't be. Over there it's clearly daled tvachim. I mean, there's got to be some kind of shear over here where you have the right to say, this is daled tvachim, and I know it's daled tvachim, and you know it's daled tvachim, so it's a rishos hayachid. And I don't have to be choshish that maybe it's a rishos harabim, and vice versa. Sometimes you know what it is. It's tiny. So, Says the Mishnah Berurah, continues Reish Aleph Amud Aleph. V'chein, similarly, tzarech lizar, you have to take care, shelo yitaltel min habayis v'lachutz, that you don't carry something from the house outside, kishu pasuach l'karmelis, when the door opens up onto a karmelis, rak ad shir sha'adela shoikev sham v'suloi, only up until the point that the door closes. That's the borderline, the piece that the door closes on, that's the end of the interior. Because maybe outside that's not daled al daled, it's heavy karmelis, and there's a din of a karmelis. Okay. Says the Ramah Viter on Reish Aleph Amud Aleph, middle of the top line. V'chein, similarly, im atikra rechava harbe, ve'ein la mechitzais min hatzadim, dina kirishus shelafaneha. If you have let's see the words of the Mishnah Berurah. If the roof, this is referring to a portico. You have over here, you have some storefronts, and the area right outside on the street, outside the door, is roofed over. And exactly the way the Mishnah Berurah describes it. They extend the roof beams of the stores. The roof beams extend outside, and they cover it over with boards. So, do they have a picture? Kind of, yeah. I mean, if you look at footnote 24, and you disregard the two posts, you see where it says Amud and Amud? Disregard those posts. So all it is you have, here, ta-da, this is what it is. I have a psak, by the way, that it's not bezayin ha-sefer to do this with a sefer. If you want to portray what the Torah is talking about, this is not considered a bezayin ha-sefer. I got that psak when I was saying Daf Yomi on Erevin. So this wall over here, this is the exterior wall of the stores, and here you have doorways. Here's the outside. They're roofed over the outside. Now, in the scenario that we're discussing right now, all there is a roof. There are no posts. All you have is a roof. So, based on that, the Ramah says, if that roof would be very, very wide, so it's definitely dalet al dalet, but it doesn't have any mechitzas around it. What's its din? Dina kirishush shalafaneha. It's going to get the din of whatever it fronts onto. But let's see what that means. So Chav Tes we read, V'kedim atikra kein shamatzu begagin shalaftech hanuyi shabitziyah akar zechotza b'kapet leimin nisarin. Dina kirishush shalafaneha. V'al kein, and therefore, asar lahachnis mimena lifnim. You're not allowed to carry from that covered over area into the interior of the store. Why? Since that roofed over area has no mechitzais, to carry from that roofed over area onto the outside that's in front of the roofed over area, right? Over there, if it opens up onto a Carmelis, mutter, then it's mutter to carry from the covered over area to the outside of it. Why? Because what's the din of the covered over area? The covered over area is a Carmelis. It can't be a Rishus Harabim. What? Why don't you say Pitikra? So again, the answer is going to be that you don't say Pitikra over here because you don't have any mechitzos. You're only going to say, the Ramah seems to hold that you only say Pitikra when you have two mechitzos. If you have two mechitzos, you can say Pitikra to make a third, or maybe to make a fourth. But you can't say Pitikra when you have no mechitzos at all. You don't say Pitikra. That seems to be the sheet of the Ramah brought down from Viter. So we'll see it later.
If it's 10 tefachim,
if what's 10 tefachim?
With 4 by 4, we say that it goes up with asik.
Good asik. If the platform, if you have a raised platform, here we don't have a raised platform. We're street level. We're coming out of the store, and in front of the store there's a roofed over area.
This is up here.
No, but that's you don't. We're not going to say good. We say good asik when you have a platform that's 10. So you have an exterior mechitza, an exterior wall that's 10 tefachim high. We continue that wall up. Over here, to continue the roof line down, that would be pitikra. Pitikra, Allah pitikra we don't say when we don't have any mechitzas.
We have one.
What?
We have one.
We have one, but that's it. So pitikra is not going to work. So wait, but I don't want to lose the thread here. So that outside area, if it fronts that roofed over area, could never be worse than a Carmelis. It could never be a Rishus Harabim. Because a Rishus Harabim, remember, in Shin Mem Hey, a Rishus Harabim can't be roofed over. Because then it's not Daimel Diglei Midbar. So therefore, it says the Mishnah Berurah here, I lost. To carry from the roofed over area outside, if it opens up onto a Carmelis, mutter it's mutter, because you're going from a Carmelis to a Carmelis. If it opens up onto a Rishus Harabim, asr lahaitzi, then you're not allowed to carry, because then you're going from a Carmelis to a Rishus Harabim. The Kevin Shemakura, because since this area under the roof is roofed over, Yesh Aleha Din Karmelis. It has a Din Karmelis. The Chanal b'Siman Shin Mem Hey Sif Yodalet, like we saw earlier, that since it's roofed over, it is a Karmelis. So it didn't strike me before, but it's striking me now. It's just bothering me. The lashon of the Ramah. The lashon of the Ramah is v'cheinim atikra rechava harbe. If the roof is very big, ve'ein la mechitzos ben atztadim, and it has no mechitzos, dina kirishus shelafaneha. Its din is like the rishus that's in front of it. Now that's not really true. Right, it's true if it's a karmelis. The Ramah seems to be going back over here, I guess, on what he said previously, right before this. Right before this, he said, "Ma'achar shekol rishuyi shalanu heim karmelis." The Ramah seems to be assuming that it's opening up onto a karmelis. And since it opens up onto a karmelis, so dino kirishus shelafaneha, it has the same din as the karmelis that's in front of it. The Mishnah Berurah is bavarning over here that if what's in front of it is not a karmelis, if it's a true Rishus Harabim, so then it's also lahaitzi because you're going from a karmelis to a Rishus Harabim. Finishes off the Ramah. V'chein begagin shalanu. Similarly, our roofs, habolten lifnei abatim, which generally speaking extend beyond the front wall of the house, dinam kirishus shalifneihem, their din, the din of the area underneath that roof that sticks out, that protrudes past the walls of the house, has the same din as the area in front of it. I very much want to try to finish this Mishnah Berurah. Ayis kat lamed aleph, v'chein begagin, kosav ataz. Bekan mevur hasafik. Over here we have clarified the suffix shemistapkin by harbe anoshim, that many people are troubled with. Be'inyan abayis sheish lefanav letzad rechayiv, where their houses have from the front door going out to the street gag boilet l'rechayiv, an overhang that goes over the door that extends from the roof. Shekarin b'loshen Ashkenaz pier libin. I don't know what that is. Ma dinam. They want to know what's the din of that area under the roof. Well, over here we just said what the din is. They're mesupikim yukal l'sham in abayis. People are mesupik. They don't know. Are you allowed to carry from that covered over area in front of the front door into from the house into that area? Are you allowed to do that? V'harbe toyim. Many people make a mistake. Laimar, and they say Pi tikra habaylut l'rechayiv, that the edges of the roof that go out to the street, yorid v'saisim, go down and close off that area, ve'evi ki'ilu bonu ad lamata ba'aretz, and it's as if there are mechitzas around the underneath of that roof, and they think that therefore it's a rishus hayachid, and they think that you're allowed to carry from the house to under that overhang, or from under the overhang into the house. And that's not true. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Umikan, and from this Ramah, mashma lehedye, it is clearly implied, the derech shetachas agag, that the din of the area underneath the roof, kirishus shelefneim, has the din of the area that it fronts onto. Ayin sham. Look at the Ramah, and look at the Taz. Look at what the Taz writes. The chen kasvu kol achrayim, and all the achrayim agree with this Taz. Uma tikunam. What is the way to fix, to be mesakin, the area under the roof, so that you should be allowed to carry from the area under the roof into the house, or vice versa? If this roof that extends from the house has amudim, it has posts, litzad rechayiv, where it hits the street. So if you look in the Dirshu and you look at footnote 24, you'll see the picture. You have the roof is sticking out, and at the two corners, like this, there are posts. So if you have like this, you have this situation right here. You have two posts at the corners, right? So if you have that, says the Mishnah Berurah, so then what do? Very simple. Yamid mechuvin kinegdam gam kanim litzad habotim. Go ahead and put up, you have pillars here, put up opposite them, put up lechis, put up posts against the front wall of the house. So that would be footnote 25 in the Dirshu. Put up two lechis over there, opposite the two posts. What does that accomplish? V'yiyah legag sha'aleim din tzuras ha'pesach. Now you have 3 tzuras ha'pesachs, right? Because you have on each side here, you have a lechi at the front wall of the house. You have a post. So this is 1 tzuras ha'pesach. Here you have a post, and here you have a post. So the 2 posts and the roof line is another tzuras ha'pesach. And from this post to this lechi, you have another tzuras ha'pesach. So you have 3 tzuras ha'pesachs that are going to make you 3 mechitzos. And now you created under that overhang a rishos hayachid. Now you can carry from there to the house and vice versa. Let's say it's like one of these motels where you have that overhang and you have a lot of different apartments or a lot of different rooms opening up under that roof. You don't have to make in between each one its own lechis. You don't have to do that. You only have to do it on each end of the long porch, and you still have 3 tzuras ha'pesachs going all around. However, these individual houses or individual stores or individual apartments are going to have to make a ruvei chatzeros, because the din of the porch is going to be like the din of a chutzner. It's one chutzner that serves many apartments. So now you have the din of a ruvei chatzeros. Now you would be able to go in and out to the houses, l'takas hagagin, to under the roof, v'chein lehepech. Ubechol gavna, also lahoitzi ulahaknis min rishos harabim, takas hagagin v'chein lehepech. However, whether you make these tzuras ha'pesachs or you don't, you're still not allowed to carry from the rishos harabim outside the porch, if it is a rishos harabim, to underneath. Why? Why is that? Because whether you were masakin it or not, if you are masakin it, so then it's a rishos hayachid, and outside is a rishos harabim. If you weren't masakin it, so underneath it is a karmelis, and outside is a rishos harabim. This is true if the overhang is daled al daled. Does yeshal shetach shetach shem karmelis, because then it is a karmelis. If it's less than daled al daled, it's not a makom choshev, and it's bottled to whatever's around it. These are a different type of porch. And this din that he's referring to, we'll see later. Baruch Hashem, we are caught up to the Dirshu program. Okay.